I've tried to recall what I would hoped would have been the third part of this podcast, but it's just not happening. So I'm going to start with this. Live from my living room, I'm going to talk about Donald Trump. I'm going to talk about the Euro finals where England lost to Spain. And I'm going to do a little bit of rambling. And I also want to tell you that I'm a huge fan of Frida Kahlo. That's why I've got a Frida Kahlo cushion in my living room. Anyway, I hope that's a decent intro. I'm going to ramble in this podcast, but I just want to have a chat with you guys. I was wondering how I was going to start this podcast because I've had to change where I do my recordings. I did my recordings um, on a specific site, and they changed all of their stuff, so I had to find somewhere new to record my podcasts, and it was very frustrating. But um, hopefully, I can get going with this. But you know what? Do you know what the irony of what happened with Donald Trump is? He was doing a speech on immigration, and I think he put up a headboard or something like that of how great he was on the immigration policy as opposed to Biden or compared to Biden. And yet, the person who targeted him was not an immigrant. Although I would say that isn't America based on immigration? That's the legacy of America. I mean, the Native Americans got their land taken from them. But I'll get to that in, maybe another segment or another time. But the person who targeted him wasn't an immigrant. It was somebody in his own backyard, somebody of his own ethnicity, and somebody who apparently was a registered Republican. So it might not be immigrants that Donald Trump has to worry about because he was bragging about how, you know, he had the least amount of people coming into the country when he was president. I don't think that's necessarily his issue. That's what he should be focusing on. It wasn't an immigrant that caused Donald Trump any problems, at least not at that rally that he was at. I've been to Pennsylvania. I've got family there, or I did have family there. They moved. I've spent, a bit of time in Pennsylvania. It's not somewhere I would ever live. It's very rural. The capital city is Philadelphia, where Will Smith is from, and I've been there as well, Philadelphia. Um, but it's a nice enough place. It just wouldn't suit my personality. I'd rather live in LA, Miami, New York, Chicago, San Francisco. Although I wouldn't live in San Francisco right now because of what's going on there. But I'm not that type of person to want to live in that type of place. But there are some absolutely gorgeous homes and real estate in Pennsylvania. I can attest to that. But that is the major irony of what happened. There is a song that Beyonce sings where she makes claim, and I'm a fan of Beyonce, so this is not me having a go at Beyonce because I'm a fan of Beyonce. She says that black women are the most ignored women in American society. What planet is she on? That is the furthest thing from the truth. Black women are actually some of the most successful, most admired, most looked up to people in America. You have Oprah Winfrey, you have Beyonce herself, you have Jennifer Hudson, you had Whitney Houston, Gabrielle Union, Aretha Franklin. Rihanna is not African American, but she's like the second biggest selling female artist of all time, and she's only been around in comparison to Madonna a very short time. Yet she's the second, and she's a billionaire. Rihanna is actually a billionaire. Do you know that Rihanna has actually sold more records than Beyonce? You had Donna Summer. I mean, you have Michelle Obama, who is not an entertainer in the conventional sense, but she was a first lady. I mean, you have so many successful, productive black women. Whoopi Goldberg, one of the most successful women in the whole world. Um, Diana Ross. I mean, the list goes on and on and on. And I'm talking about if you're quarter black, half black, full black, whatever. Um, where are the Native American women? Where are the Native American women in politics? Where are the Native American women in entertainment? Where are the Native American women as actresses? Where are they? Black women are some of the most celebrated women of all time. Look at Lupita Nyong'o, for example. You might not know who she is. She comes in one film and she gets an Oscar. First time she comes in a movie, maybe the second time, but she got an Oscar very early on in her career. Leonardo DiCaprio was acting in movies for years and years before he ever got acknowledged, and he should have gotten an Oscar for The Wolf of Wall Street, as far as I'm concerned. Tom Cruise has been one of the biggest movie stars for decades. He doesn't have an Oscar, but Lupita Nyong'o has an Oscar. So I don't agree with Beyonce's assumption or idea about that at all. I might venture off topic. My brain is very active at the moment. There are certain times of the day when my brain is just flat and I can barely get my words out. And I also suffer from anxiety. But at the moment, I'm more free flowing, more comfortable. But I feel like everything's quiet and I feel more, a little bit more freedom, but I've got to be quiet as well. I do believe if there was a vote today between Biden and Trump, I think that Trump would win hands down. And I'm not saying that because I'm biased towards Trump. I prefer Biden. If Biden had all of his faculties, I would want Biden to remain president. So I'm not saying this as any favor towards Trump. I don't want Trump back in the White House, but I have to be honest. If there was a vote today between them, Biden and Trump, Trump would get into office. And that's partly because it would be partly a sympathy vote, I believe. And all, but he was ahead in the polls before then. Melania made a statement. She wrote a statement apparently, but based on the fact that I've heard her speak English and her English still isn't great, I doubt very much that she wrote this by herself. And I'm just going to read the last two paragraphs of what she wrote. We are all humans, and fundamentally, instinctively, we want to help one another. American politics are only one vehicle that can uplift our communities. Love, compassion, kindness, and empathy are necessities. And let us remember that when the time comes to look beyond the left and the right, beyond the red and the blue, we all come from families with passions to fight for a better life together. While we are here in this earthly realm, she definitely did not write that by herself. Absolutely no way. Uh, I don't believe she wrote this, and it was quite a long um, message that she wrote, a long comment, a long, reaction, reply, whatever you want to call it. There is absolutely no way that she wrote this by herself. Um, I'm going to veer off topic again because my brain is really active. I was supposed to, I had a full English breakfast today, which I rarely ever have because it's just too heavy for me. Some people have a fry, but every weekend I don't. I have one once in a blue moon. It was delicious, and I said, this will fill me up for the whole day. I'm not going to eat anything else. But now I'm munching on Doritos, nachos, and chocolate. So, so much for me saying I'm not going to eat anything for the rest of the day. Something just came to my mind, and I don't know what it is, but I'm glad that I'm just talking, openly and freely. Um, you would have heard about the crossbow incident, and without going too much into it, because my mum was saying she thinks that the guy who did it was probably in a relationship with one of the daughters. And there seems to be something that alludes to that. But you know what? I did say, don't play with men's emotions. Like I said, I learned over the years not to do that. Once I was dating a guy, and, I told him that I was seeing somebody else now. And I thought, I knew he would be upset about it. And I did say it to upset him, to be honest with you. I thought he'd be upset about this for a day or two. The guy was like upset about it for a whole year afterwards. And I'm not even going to tell you what he did to show that he was upset. But, I just told him that I was seeing somebody else because I was just letting him know that I've moved on. He has no control over me anymore. It was a big mistake. And yes, I did say it to upset him. But, if I could go back, now would I say that to upset somebody? No, because it just caused me a lot of problems. Don't play with men and their emotions. And some men are very, very difficult when it comes to rejection because some men, their whole identity is tied up in how women see them, how women view them. how desirable they are to women. Some men, not all men, but some men, a lot of men. Um, and I can even talk about examples of that in society where people have gone on sprees because they feel rejected by the opposite sex, particularly men. You know, women don't tend to do that as much, although there are Benny Broderick situations. um, but, you know, when we heard about it, and when I heard about it, I was like, oh goodness. But my mum was like, straight away, I think she texted, no, she didn't text me because she doesn't text me. She emailed me and said, I think maybe he had something, you know, had a relationship with one of the girls. So I'm going to talk about the Euro finals now. It causes me a deep amount of the loss that I feel is so great, even though I knew that it was unlikely that England were going to win. The loss, the pain, the hurt that I feel that England didn't pick up that trophy after so many years is it's just so difficult for me to wrap my head around. You know, I never ever support England. This is the first time I've supported England. I always support Portugal and France. This time I just really wanted it for those boys. I really wanted it for Gareth Southgate. He's gotten so much flack, you know, and he's taken England to two finals, so he can't be that bad. But, you know, obviously that's not good enough for the people who paid for tickets, paid for travel, paid for accommodation. It's not good enough, and I understand that. It's not good enough. England were by far the inferior team. Spain were played football so much better. They were so much more attractive to watch, more free flowing, kept the ball for longer. They were always going to score. And when England equalised, I thought, hey, we might have a chance here. But Spain were just always going to score again. They were always going to score. And when the match ended and Spain won, I just turned the TV off. I couldn't watch. I couldn't watch. I just could not watch Spain lift that trophy. I just couldn't watch it. I really wanted it for Gareth and the boys. I really did. Particularly after seeing the smiles on their faces after scoring all those penalties. It was just the loss I felt and the disappointment. You know, I'm going to admit, you know, it's not easy to say that I was really upset. You know, it's not always easy to say how you feel emotionally about certain things, but I wanted England to win so much, even though I knew that it was unlikely that they were going to win. I hope that, you know, I don't have much hope now. You know, it was time. You know, it really was time. And I still haven't watched Spain lift their trophy, their European trophy. I enjoyed the tournament immensely. My favourite rapper lives in Germany, who I have a crush on. I'm not going to say who is, but I wanted England to win so much, even though I have Spanish and Portuguese ancestry on my mother's side. At the end of the day, I'm a black Jamaican British woman. That's what I am. But I just wanted England to win so much for those boys, for Bellingham, for Saka, even for Kane. I really wanted that for them. I really wanted that for Gareth. And I was really disappointed. Getting up on Monday morning was very hard, knowing that Spain had won the European trophy.